ring. You ain't even had man lying on your know that. Got me a bag for the brick, you know that. Control them slow the pace if I throw back. All this ass for real. Drama make you feel fantasy and weird, but it's all I can give you. We're so young, boy, we ain't got nothing to lose. Oh, oh.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to Developer Student Club's NUS virtual welcome tea. And it's really great to see that we have a lot of participants today. And thank you so much for taking your time off on Thursday night to attend our info session. So you might have heard us in the past few days during the computing day or the freshman welcome session. But trust me that today's info session will be a bit different because we are going to introduce our club on a deeper level. And we also have with us previous members of DSC to share about their experiences in the club. So without further ado, let us begin the welcome tea. So before we begin, we actually have a pigeonhole set up. So if you have any questions about DSC, you can scan the QR code with the passcode DSC2122, and you can go on there and leave your questions, and we will answer all of these questions at the end of the session. So once again, the password is DSC2122. So to introduce Developer Student Club, we are a club supported by Google developers, and DSC NUS is a community group where students interested in technology can grow their knowledge in a peer-to-peer learning environment. And they also build solutions for the community. So DSC comprises members who are passionate learners and who aim to make a difference in society and to ultimately push our mission of tech for good. So these are some of our core values, and over the past 2 years, we have helped our members become more empathetic and curious in their approach in their projects with NPOs, as well as our workshops and our hackathon, while also remaining open-minded and humble, all while developing ourselves as students and as project leaders. So to give you a better idea of DSC's mission around the world, we have a short video.
Google Developer Student Clubs train hundreds of thousands of university student developers globally while having fun getting to know other students at their school. Google selects students with strong leadership skills from across the globe once a year to start a club on their campus. These leads believe knowledge is power and that technology can do extraordinary things for the world. They take on the responsibility to help students learn and empower each other to solve real problems around them. Students can participate in the annual Solution Challenge by Google developers to solve for one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Join us in building a global community for students in technology.
So there are more than 1,500 DSCs around the world, and in Southeast Asia alone, there are DSCs in 7 countries and 67 cities. So DSC NUS was actually formed in 2019, and this is our 3rd year running that we are a club in NUS. So this is a picture from our launch event back in September of 2019, and this was the first ever DSC NUS. And they actually held a welcome event at the developer space at the Google office. So with the COVID restrictions last year, unfortunately, most of our events last year were held online. But this year, with the restrictions slightly getting lifted slowly, we are looking to have a lot more physical sessions this year. So you guys can look forward to that, fingers crossed. So in Singapore alone, there are 9 tertiary institutions, including NTU and SMU, that also have a DSC chapter. So now I'd like to take a moment to introduce our new core team. So my name is Wong. I'm a year 2 computer science student, and I am the DSC lead. And with me is Jeremy. Jeremy is a year 2 business analytics student. Jeremy, say hi.
Hi.
And Jeremy is the external lead. So he oversees all the external projects that we work together with NPOs with. Next, we have Yisin. Yisin is a year 3 business analytics student, and she is the internal lead. So Yisin, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Hello. Right, so finally we have Sebastian. Sebastian is the deputy internal lead, and he's a year 2 computer science student. So the internal leads are in charge of overseeing all the internal events that we hold. So for example, the workshops and the hackathon. So these are some demographics of our club ever since we were founded in 2019. So since then, we have had 128 members of DSC, of which 55% are from SOC and 45% are from other faculties. And we have had a vast impact on students with over 600 participants in our workshops, over 400 participants across faculties and nationalities in our hackathon, as well as benefiting 6 non-profit organizations with our external projects. So to give you an overview of the structure of organization, firstly for the internal team, this is what the structure looks like. So under the leads, there are 5 different teams, namely the finance team, the technology team, the operations, partnerships, and the publicity team. So the finance team's role is to assist in financial planning and resource allocation, as well as to generate accountability reports for our transactions. So the technology team are the key players behind our Tech for Good workshops. So they conduct these workshops to impart generative tech skills, especially to students who are interested in tech but have no experience, and to gain these skills to be able to benefit the community. So they will be in charge of the training and mentoring during these sessions. Next, we have the operations team, and the operations team are the backbone of our events. So they organize and execute our internal team events. So the biggest of which will be our flagship hackathon called Hack for Good. And they'll be in charge of the logistics and programs of these events. So this was the first Hack for Good iteration. And this is actually our first ever DSC lead, Jason. And next, the partnerships team, also a very important team to liaise with external parties and sponsors who are very important to keep our events fresh and also relevant for the industry, and to also source and maintain relationships with these external parties. And finally, the publicity team will oversee the design, documentation, and the marketing of the internal team's events. So once again, if you have just joined the call, we actually have a pigeonhole set up in case you guys have any questions. So you can go ahead, scan the QR code and enter the passcode DSC2122, and we'll answer these questions at the end of the session. Next, Sebastian, our deputy internal lead, will be giving us a quick overview of some of the key activities and highlights of DSC. So Sebastian.
Thanks, Joel. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sebastian, and now I'll be sharing with you some key activities that we have organized in DSC. So for a quick overview of what we have done for the past academic year, there are actually 4 main activities, namely our Tech for Good workshops, our industry talks, our Hack for Good hackathon, as well as 3 external projects in partnership with various NPOs. In this coming academic year, we are going to do the same, and the only difference is that we are going to increase 1 more external project in the external division. Coming to Hack for Good is actually our flagship event in our internal team, which seeks to inspire students to learn and use technology for social causes. Through this event, we aim to promote the spirit of the community in practicing Tech for Good. Now, the first iteration of Hack for Good, as can be seen from the photo on the right, was actually held face-to-face, which was when DSC first launched. And the participation rate was actually quite encouraging, given that it's our first time conducting it. And the second iteration, which was held in March this year, was also ran successfully, with our participation rate doubled in size to about 258 packs, despite COVID-19 restrictions in place. And we have sourced of partnership with a wide variety of NPOs, and they are actually very diverse in nature. This allows students to tackle real-world issues on various themes such as community, environment, equality, and health. This event is mostly run and executed by the operations cell and publicized by the POP team together with partnerships whose will source for NPOs that we are engaging them with to onboard this event. They work hand in hand to ensure the overall success of the event. The benefits is that if you join us in an internal team, you get an opportunity to work in cross-functional teams, as well as to plan and manage an event from start to finish. So this helps to build your organization skills, your people skills, or even your communication skills. These are the works of the publicity team in promoting our event, from designing our logo, our standee, and boards to beautifully design Instagram promotion collaterals. Here we have winners looking very excited with their new Nintendo Switches. Now, I'll hand over the time to Amelia, who is our previous DSC lead, to share with you a little bit more about past experience in DSC. Amelia, please.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm the ex-lead, so that's basically Joel's role for the previous year. So Joel shared some things that you guys might be curious about for the previous year. So I came up with some responses. So I guess a common question is like, what would inspire someone to join DSC? So I'm sure quite a lot of you guys have different backgrounds. Some of you might be from FAST, some of you might be computing, business, and so on, even SDE. Then I think DSC is just a really great place because you get to work across with people from different faculties on a project with a nonprofit. So it gives you a chance both to like kind of dabble in many different things. For example, if you're interested in software development, you can try that. You can also kind of pick up the role of a PM, like product manager, design, and so on. So it's just a place where the opportunity cost of learning is very low and you can just have fun with your friends as well. So kind of segueing into that is how COVID affected. So I took over right after Jason. So my batch was just like so unlucky. We were the batch that had to do everything online and change. So I think COVID affected it in obviously not a great way. We had to do everything online and we couldn't meet face to face. Before that, I would just meet my project team like for meals and stuff. But I think over the course of the next year, like Joel said, you guys, if you join, you should be able to use the Google developer space more, and you should be able to meet each other more as well. And I think a very important part if you're working on an external project is also going for site visits and working with the NPOs directly. So I think that is something that you can look forward to over the course of the next year. And even despite COVID, I think that one major thing that really helped a lot was just seeing kind of camaraderie, because you're kind of working on a common project together and the challenges you face are also together. And a lot of the learning curves you face are also together. So I guess it's like a good chance to just get to know people despite like the fact that everything's online. Then so Hack for Good, I think Sebastian touched on just now. My experience organizing it was pretty good. It's definitely like the biggest event we have. It's like our flagship event. So you get to work with many different NPOs. For example, we had a very wide variety. The previous year where I actually took part as a contestant instead of organizer, we did stuff like for the WWF on food wastage and also for like a disability like aphasia. So I think it's something you can look forward to. At DSC, you get exposed to not just depth in terms of like technical knowledge or in project, but also breadth. You get to find out about many different causes that maybe were otherwise kind of under your radar. Then one thing I guess you can expect to learn. For some context, I was initially in an external team like project. Then I moved into the lead position, which is like looking over the internal side and kind of just loosely managing external projects. So if you're in an external project team, the main thing you can really look forward to is seeing like your project get deployed and like being used by NPOs, and also just like working in a team. If you probably never interned before, this is a cool experience for you as well. And if you're like in an internal team planning a project, doing operations, finance, etc. The thing that you can really look forward to is just seeing your work come to fruition in that like major event. Because Hack for Good, I think we've really grown. We grew like 50% from 2019 to 2020. So yeah, I think it's only up from here. Then juniors can expect to learn many different things. Yeah, I guess it really depends on the role you're applying for. If you have specific questions, I can answer on Pigeonhole as well. Yeah, so those are the main things. I think I talked enough. So take it away. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, India. I think that's a very insightful discussion on your past experience. So now we'll move on to discussing more about Tech for Good workshops. So what's the goal of Tech for Good workshops? Is to equip the community with relevant technical skills so that we can inspire social causes in our society. Now, I think some of you have questions on how are we different from the rest of the clubs, because these days there's a lot of clubs doing a lot of different kinds of workshops. I think the very difference that we make is that we believe in imparting knowledge and skills so that in the future they might use this to benefit social good in the future. Then across our last academic year, we have successfully conducted more than 8 workshops and with more than 400 participants. We believe that this is a huge figure for us given the small size of our club. And the 3 main topics covered were data science, finance analytics, and web development. We especially curated these topics because we believe that these are the high demand skills that the industry are using. And we believe that by equipping participants with skills of today, they can apply them tomorrow. So here are some examples of the workshop that we have conducted. Yeah. And perhaps now I'll just share a little bit about my past experience as a technology associate last academic year. So I was from the internal team and I was mainly in charge of planning and conducting the workshops. And I think that the main challenge that I had when I first joined was that I have zero experience in conducting a technical workshop. And in fact, right, most of the tech associates have not conducted a workshop before. So the experience was very minimal. Everybody was started on the same ground. And it was definitely something new to us, and it might be something new to you as well. And naturally, most of us have fears on teaching workshops to a big group of audience. Therefore, we wasn't sure whether we are going to be good at it or if I'm going to do it at all. Yeah, if we are going to do it well at all. But I think eventually, with good preparation by each of us and with the team together, all the workshops were actually conducted very successfully, and with more than 50 to 100 participants per workshop over Zoom. And I think one thing that I would like to highlight is that doing coding itself, right, and teaching people how to code, it's vastly different. When you teach beginners on new concepts, especially highly technical ones like coding, right, you need to learn to be in their shoes and then break down complicated stuff into simple ones. And one of the greatest benefit is that through this workshop thing, right, you're able to improve your communication skills as a software engineer or for someone who practice tech, as well as solidifying your knowledge that you are teaching others. Because what is a better way to check your understanding than being able to explain and articulate it to someone new? Yeah, I think that's the key difference here, improving your soft skills. Yeah, so doing this certainly helps me to improve my soft skills and my confidence in technical delivery. If you want to be a tech associate, we'll give you the chance to run your show to give back to the community. And yeah, if you have any questions, do feel free to post your questions on Pigeonhole and we'll get to them later. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's the end of my sharing. I think the last activity that we do in our internal team is to hold industry talks. In this event, we aim to enable the community to gain insights and networking opportunities from professionals involved in social causes. I think most of our speakers come from the social tech spaces of education, health, and social good as a whole. I think that the goal of this industry talk is really to educate students on the role of technology. And if you join for our industry talks, you definitely get a lot of networking opportunities simply by planning them and executing them. Yeah, I think that's the end of my internal sharing. Now I'll hand over the time to Jeremy to share a bit more about the external division. Yeah, Jeremy, please.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sebastian. Hi, everyone. I think Joel have already introduced me, so I'll just keep it short. Yeah, so this is just a shameless plug here we all created. All right, so entertain this for sure. Right now, I'll share a little bit more about our external team, what we do, and what are certain roles that are required and the job description behind every single role. Yeah. So these are organization. So if you see, the external team comprises of head of business and head of technology. We have 3 head of business and head of technology for this year, as we are recruiting just for 3 external projects happening this year itself. Each project will last for a full 1 academic year, so you'll range from this SEM 1, all the way to SEM 2. Right. For business associate, so what's the role required in becoming a business associate? So you'll be in charge in finding sponsors, securing grant, even possibly working with the MPO to advertise or even push the product to commercialization. So you work with MPO to define and to prioritize the product features, where you prioritize the app requirements such as chat feature. A chat feature is much more important compared to a notification feature on the app. Yeah. So you also help to facilitate user acceptance testing to ensure that you meet the product's requirement and addresses the MPO's need. At the end of the day, we are here to ensure that MPO's needs are met and achieved at the end of the day. Yeah. Moving on. We also do have product designers. So for the product designer, their goal is to mainly create engaging and intuitive UI UX design, user interface or user experience design. Yeah. So you'll work closely with the software engineers and even the business associates to implement the design. You'll conduct and to create the user performance testing. You might be doing some A/B testing as well. And you'll be using software such as Figma, Adobe Experience Design, even Adobe Illustrator itself to create icons that are required just for this project. So we are not only looking for experienced designers here, but also designers who embodies the values that we have in DSC, which is which you are passionate about and you really want to give back to our social cause as we are Tech for Good Club. Yeah. A software engineer. So as a software engineer, what you do is mainly develop tech solutions. We have two teams in every single project. So every single project, you have a front-end team and a back-end team. You can move about between both teams, just discuss it with the head of technology. And what you do, you mainly collaborate in teams together to create a project that's defined and created by the product designer and the business associate. So some tech stacks that we have done previously includes React.js, Node.js, Git, the HTML front-end development, and more. Yeah, it depends on every single project. There's no specific set of tech that you'll be using, like tech stack that you'll be using. It really depends on the project that you'll be doing or encountering on, when you're onboarded itself. Yeah. So some questions that came out from software engineers, maybe I can clarify here before I move on a little bit, is primarily the commitment for SWEs are mainly, it differs. So your role might be very, you might have lesser load in the beginning of the semester, but your load might increase along the way and depends on how your project has progressed along the entire one academic year. Certain periods of time, for example, during the winter break, you might be a little bit more busier than usual as you need to complete certain requirements, certain project deadlines and project goals along the way to ensure it meets the MPO's needs and requirements. So you design along the way, for example, from the prototype phase to even user testing to ensure that you fix out all the bugs, the bugs and so on and so forth along the way. So commitment for this really varies according to the role, but we'll explain a little bit further during the Q&A. Yeah. All right, for the external team, what's the goal of the external team? So it boils down to really maintaining a portfolio of technology projects that aims to tackle these challenges of a specific community. So previous challenges that we tackled, including tackling the autistic community in helping children with autism by creating an application to help them and parents. We also do have certain platforms such as donation in kind, where we create a PW, a progressive web app, to kind of tackle certain challenges such as these. Yeah. Additionally, the goal of a project team is to combine the expertise of students. We're all students here to develop together with business consultants and to kind of build tech solutions. So you work with people from the BIS school, from FASS, or right now it's considered CHS, College of Humanity and Sciences, and other schools as well to kind of work together to create this application as a whole. Yeah. So let me go through a little bit about the project overview. All right. So I'll share with you some past projects and cover some in-depth knowledge about these few projects, what it's done. So if you see here, these three projects, this was done initially when DSC was founded in 2019. So these are the first three projects that we have done as a club. So this includes Vantage SG. It's actually a resume builder that enables the MPO itself back then to enable youths to create their own resume for free. Yeah. So yeah, this was helping them to kind of transition into the workforce better. We also have AutoRec. So AutoRec is a platform that basically enables parents to integrate children with autism into the society by providing some guidance and to even help them, achieve certain targets or certain goals to help them continue learning even though they're back home or they're not in with the MPO itself with AutoRec. Yeah, so parents can do it on the go as well. And finally, we have Give for Good. So Give for Good is still a live platform which you all can view. You all can go and search it up online. We do have a link, maybe we'll share later. I think we'll go a little bit in depth later on. But basically, it's an online platform that provides facilitate kind of donations in kind for those in need. So the MPO reach out to the general public, and the general public can provide certain needs, such as they might need a usable smartphone, etc., for certain needs for certain MPOs, depending on the timeline and depending on the process, on the season as well. Moving on. So we have 3 more projects. So this was just done last academic year in 2020-2021. So one was Digital Kampong, and this is one project that's still ongoing just this year. It's a platform that will create information accessibility for hawkers to the general public. So we intend to create this and to push it in terms of commercialization for people to use and to understand what are hawkers available out there and to give them a better exposure in terms of it, especially during now with the COVID pandemic, right? And we also have Quest. So Quest is an application to build scalable feedback loop for various programs that help this MPO itself to achieve its target and to achieve its goal. And finally, we have Journey. So Journey is a volunteer management platform that supports this MPO, non-profit organization called Blessings in the Bag, to kind of like help them manage their volunteers and kind of provide a holistic development in terms of their volunteering program, as they have quite a number of volunteers coming in and out. So they want a platform to kind of allow them to manage themselves. Yes. So right now, I'll pass the time to Han Ming, who will further explain a little bit more about Quest. So Han Ming here is a household name in terms of developing app for voluntary welfare application, and he has been doing. He also has been involved in CVWO in School of Computing. If you're not sure of it, you can go and look it up on Google. And he was previously our tech lead for the AY21, and he was a software engineer when DSC was founded. Han Ming, go ahead. Yes.
Thanks so much, Jeremy. So hi everyone. Really glad to see everyone here, and to see that everyone has a lot of you guys have an interest in DSC. So I'll maybe share a bit more about DSC, and Joel actually gave me some questions to answer along the way. So I guess I'll talk about them as well. So actually, I first joined DSC as when I found out about this back in year 1, right? That's when DSC first started, right? And then one of my seniors told me about it. Then I found it quite interesting because it was a chance to kind of use my skills to kind of do some good in the community and so on. And and I applied and I managed to get a spot as a software engineer, right? So thereafter I felt that was really quite interesting. I really loved the work that we are doing. That's why I decided to continue as a tech lead for the next year. So during my roles here, I kind of did, I guess, 2 main projects, right? As in year 1, I was in the Autivec team, which Jeremy has introduced already. So basically, we are kind of building a team to kind of help parents to see engage their kids with autism, also to help them track the progress of their kids, basically help their kids grow, right? Then as in the second year, I was working on Team Quest, right, which is also working with kids, but a different kind of target group, right? We were helping this center to basically kind of better identify how their programs are doing, right? Because the fact is, a lot of these VWOs or NGOs, they face challenges in terms of applying for grants, applying for all these kind of programs, because they don't have the feedback on how effective they are, right? And these metrics actually are very important to them. And all these metrics, a lot of these things won't happen. They can't really go through a lot of applications. So actually, we are trying to help them to basically gather feedback on all the things that they're doing and whether the kids are actually enjoying the programs and growing from it, right? So I guess through this process, I've learned quite a lot, right? And I think our team has also achieved quite a lot, right? So our year 1 team, my year 1 team, the Autivec, we managed to get the application working. Then after we worked on refining it with basically the right pedagogies. So we kind of work with professional educators, right? They work with children with autism. We get their feedback on how to improve the UX, such that both the parents and the kids will enjoy using the app, right? And the project has kind of continued outside of DSC already. As for Quest, we are currently kind of handing over to the NGO. Basically, we do have certain criteria or rather some key goals that we have managed to achieve, right? So basically, besides the fact that they can now create kind of like feedback forms, questionnaires, and get the feedback from the students, right? We also managed to achieve it such that in a way that the app is very lightweight, so it's very low data usage, because a lot of these children actually are from like poor families. They may not have a lot of data, right? Then it's also compatible across all devices. So basically, we build a progressive web app to achieve that purpose. right? Because some of them may not actually have their own mobile devices as well. And we have also gamified the whole UI such that it's very engaging to the children. So I think these were all like kind of like stretch goals that we were hoping to achieve at the start. I'm very glad that we have managed to achieve what we've set out to basically achieve. Yeah. So for our project, in terms of tech stack, right? L3 is kind of built using React and Firebase for the backend. So React is front end and Firebase is the backend. And Quest is built using React for the front end as well, but the backend is on Node.js. So I've seen that some guys have asked on the Pigeonhole as well, like what kind of tech stacks should you learn and so on. I think that's not really the most important thing, because actually what we expect you to be able to do is be able to pick up things fast, right? Definitely having some experience generally shows that you're able to pick things up, right, in the end. Because you know, if you have some experience before, like you've worked with React before, that definitely means that, you know, if you need to use React, we know that you can use it. But definitely we also look at your potential to learn. So for example, like Joel, right, he's actually in my team Quest last year. He didn't know React when he first came in, but we still took him in and he picked up super fast, right? Within 1 or 2 weeks, he was up to speed already. So generally, you're looking for your ability to learn. And I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. Of course, it's a bit hard to quantify this as well and judge this, but I'll leave it to the team list to kind of handle this for this year. Yeah. I think maybe I'll talk about what you can learn, what you can expect to learn from this whole process, because I suspect that's what most of you guys are interested in. But I think the most important thing that you can take away from this whole experience, right? Besides, of course, the fact that you are able to do good, right? It's the fact that you can learn how to solve real-world problems. So unfortunately in school, although you get to work on school projects, right? A lot of them don't really have either the impact or the users, right, of your application. You're building the app for yourself, for example. And often, you know, you're not really in the whole process of getting feedback from your users, iterating a product, and actually making sure that, you know, all the changes you make are okay. Because, you know, if you make a change that breaks things, right, it basically affects actual users. So things are, and not to mention that these real world problems often have a lot of complexities in it, right? For example, like at first we developed some sort of games for the children with autism to play, but we completely forgot about this whole concept of like pedagogy, right? There's an approach to these games that normally the educators at centers would use to kind of engage the kids. Right? We kind of didn't know about that, and we also didn't consider this factor. Only much later when we talked to the people on the ground, then we realized, oh, we completely overlooked this aspect. So there's a lot of complexities involved. I think this is one part that you learn to tackle as you go. So software engineers will not just be coding, right? They're there to actually figure out what they need to code for and have a way to kind of negotiate between the requirements and what you're able to achieve and find the balance and actually achieve it. But you also learn a lot about like how to work with real clients, right? They often have a lot of requirements. Sometimes they don't even know what they want, right? They just know that they want something like that, but they may not actually be clear about it. Or sometimes what they want is they don't know what they need. So actually that's where we need to come in as software engineers to kind of figure things out for them, right? Figure out what is achievable and what is actually necessary. And this only experience can come when you work with real clients, right? And last but not the least, right? Definitely you get to learn how to work in a cross-functional team, right? So I don't think you often get to work with actual like people from not from your faculty, right? So let's say you're a business student, you might not get to work with computing students often, or let's say you won't get to work with real designers often. So this is a very rare opportunity that you get, right? Here in DSC, and yeah. So I guess and maybe just add one last thing is that you start thinking about like in terms of sustainability and impact, but I think that's one thing that's also quite important. That I think working on any sort of like CIP project or any sort of community service project, you generally tend to think of, right? You know, so like how do you make this effort sustainable, right? After you're done the project, what happens and this kind of thing. So I think these are all interesting things to think about, and it's very interesting challenges to tackle. And by tackling this through DSC, you learn a lot along the way. Yeah. So that's mainly what I have to share. I'm very glad to have spent 2 years in DSC, right? And I think I've learned a lot, and I've also managed to hopefully make a big difference. I don't know how much difference, but okay, I hopefully made a huge impact, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can all do as well. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Han Ming. So it has been a very insightful talk for all of us, and thank you for taking the time to share your experience with us. So continuing on, I'll be talking more about Gift for Good, which is launched in September 2020, and it is an online platform that organizes in-kind donations to charities across Singapore. So this project was actually developed in partnership with Commune, and the motivation behind it is because the bottom 20% of households in Singapore are unable to make ends meet on their own. So that's why this platform is created, and it mainly targets NPOs and donors. Yeah, so the vision is actually to create a more generous Singapore where every low-income family has access to basic necessities. And the mission is to develop a seamless online platform that facilitates in-kind donations from individual and corporate donors to non-profit organizations. And here are some key features that Give for Good has. Firstly, there's efficient matching for item sourcing between the NPOs and the donors. The delivery scheduling tool, which helps to provide more flexibility for the donors. The chat feature for communication, quick and easy online application, enhanced tracking of listings for the NPOs, as well as the location feature. So now we'll actually have a slide demonstration of the website of how it actually looks like. Yeah, so the website is basically live and it's already functioning and everything. So the team did a really great job in creating this platform because it really benefits both the NPOs and the donors. So as you can see, this is the website, and all these are actually listings that are done by the NPOs for their beneficiaries. So if we look into the details, for example, the first one, yeah, we can see that this is actually an NPO listing a request for their beneficiary for a smartphone, and all this contains the details. And you can actually chat with the NPOs to learn to ask more questions that you would like to know, or like to make a meeting where you can donate the item to the NPOs. Yeah, so there's this chat function. And we can go back to the home page. Oh yeah, we can also donate. So this is how the donors can fill out this form to donate the item accordingly. Yeah. So actually, Give for Good, like what I mentioned just now, has made a big impact where there's more than 6,800 unique views, and they have also engaged in 30 NPOs and more than 300 donors. And there's also more than 150 total wishes. Yeah. So I'll now pass the time back to Joel, who will be talking more about recruitment.
Thanks so much, Izzy, for the sharing. And I hope so far it's been beneficial for you guys. So actually, recruitment right now is already open, and you can access the recruitment link through our Instagram. The link is in the bio. So the recruitment actually closes on the 21st of August, next Saturday. And to recap again, for the internal team, we are recruiting for 5 different teams, namely technology, publicity, partnerships, finance, and operations. And for the external team, we are recruiting for 3 different roles. So the business associates, software engineers, and product designers. So if you would like to have a direct link to the QR code, the QR code is on the application form, the QR code is on the screen right now. You can scan it and sign up. So once again, it closes next Saturday. The deadline is strict, so we will not entertain any late applications. So now we'll be addressing some frequently asked questions. So these are not from the pigeonhole. These are questions that we have gotten way too many of from the past 2 computing day and also the freshman welcome. So one of them is, can I join as a year whatever? Yes, you can, as long as you're an NUS student. So I'd like to add here that I think there was also a question on whether I can join if I'm graduating this semester. But because DSC is a year-long commitment, so you have to factor that into account. Next, do you have any coding experience to join? This is probably the most common question that we get. So for software engineers, doing your own prior projects will be advantageous because that obviously shows that you are interested in software engineering, and also you are someone who is passionate about your personal development. But we live in a growth mindset. So even if you have no experience or little experience in a particular tech stack that we are going to use, don't worry. We take in members from all years, and we also like to have a diversity of members from like year 1 to year 4. So do not worry about that. Finally, Jeremy, would you like to take this question?
Yeah, sure. So for commitment, as mentioned earlier, commitment really varies on the role they are assigned to and the time period. So I'm basically replying based on roles in the external team. So for the external projects, right, or the external team, for product designers, initially when you start off in the project, you'll be quite busy a little while because you'll be required to design the high fidelity or the low fidelity wireframe to kind of prepare how the app will look like or how the website will look like, whether it's on the mobile phone or on the website. So you'll learn how to create from scratch designs for the MPO's need itself. So for product designers, initially your role will be quite busy because of that. But however, when you go later into the semester or later into the academic year, already depending, you might do some tweaking, some refinements of your design, but you'll get lesser kind of workload, but you also have different roles that you take on. You might be also required to kind of assist the business associate along the way. For software engineers, so for software engineers itself, you'll be required to design with the head of tech, kind of like the system architecture initially. So whatever you learn in your modules, whether you're a CN student, BZA student, or even non-competing student to have taken the CS mod, you'll learn from end to end how to design a web application or PWA or even an app itself from scratch. So all of our projects that we have mentioned here, the past 6 projects that we have done over the past 2 years, they're all built from scratch, and they're not from templates that you see or anything. These are all designed according to the MPO's need. So the applications are unique just for the MPO itself. But in terms of the commitment period, initially it will be quite light workload, but along the way as you progress in the semester or even academic year, during the winter break especially, it'll be a little bit more hectic because you'll be required to code according to the project timeline and project deadline given by your head of tech. All right. For the biz associate, it's very similar to the product designer. Your role will be quite important initially, and along the way, you'll really be the glue between every single department, from the project designer to the software engineers and even the MPOs, where you work hand in hand with each other to ensure that each project is kind of like reaching the requirement, and you are able to kind of code out every single feature required for this project itself. Yeah. So, Then I think I can pass this time to Sebastian to further explain a little bit about the internal roles.
Yeah, I think generally for internal, right, we have planned our curriculum such that it's actually quite spread out between semester 1 and 2. So definitely we decide for sem 1 to be more of a preparation month, or preparation, we have a few months to prepare for the events in semester 2. So actually I feel that the commitment shouldn't be too heavy. We also take into account your studies during the semester. Yeah, so you definitely don't have to worry about heavy commitment in the internal team. Yeah, it'll definitely be manageable as compared as from my past experiences.
So some questions were asked whether is weekly mandatory meetings required. It really depends on your project or whether you're in internal or external teams. And for internal teams, right, as mentioned by Sebastian, you get more hectic along when there's workshops attended, that workshops, that you are required to prepare. For example, we do have our Hack for Good hackathons. So by then, initially the few months before the hackathon itself, you'll be more busy prepping. You might even have more weekly meetings. For the external side, on the other hand, it really depends on your head of biz or head of tech. They might want to have weekly meetings or even bi-weekly meetings. It really depends on what they ask. You can work with them, kind of like see how your schedule fits. But most of the time, it's mainly weekly. From my own personal experience, or even Joel's personal experience, if I'm not mistaken, is that we do have weekly meetings, but sometimes they are very short. They are very short and quick to kind of have a catch up between everyone, every single team member. Yeah. So maybe I'll start answering some few questions. So the first most popular question is, how many slots and members are you taking in? So from previous DSC for the past 2 years, we've been involving for the external projects, approximately every project, since we only have 3 projects, we have about 12 team members per project. And so these 12 team members will be split accordingly. So we have about 6, might be lesser, might be more, really depending on the project, software engineers. We also have about 1 to 2 product designers, and we have about 3 to 4 business associates for every single external project. So you can gauge how many slots there are. For the internal, maybe Sebastian or Yixing, you can further explain a little bit how many people you guys are taking in. Yeah.
So for internal, because we have 5 departments, and for each department, there's actually a lead where they will be leading the whole team. So for now, the tech team, we have 9 people, including the lead, him or herself. Finance, 2, publicity, 6, operations, 4, and partnership, 4. Yeah, so these are the space that we have for the internal team. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So we never actually publish these numbers because we don't we like to encourage everyone to apply regardless of whether you think that well, like perhaps you might have concerns that I don't have experience, I might not get in, but that's not true because I personally didn't have experience and I managed to get in as well. So I think do not worry about the numbers so much. As long as you're interested, we will consider you equally with everyone else. So the next question, the next most popular one, what will the entry interview be about? So maybe for that, firstly we'll get Jeremy, external lead, to maybe explain about the external selection process.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. So for the entry interview for the external side, it'll be done according to the roles that you have picked. So if you have picked product designers, we'll interview based on the product designer role to see whether you're the right fit with us. Again, we don't be biased about the application because we are aiming to be more inclusive in whoever that we have accepted or whoever that applied to our application. So we'll try to give the best opportunity to provide you an interview if you're shortlisted. All right. So we do look for certain characteristics as mentioned by Joel initially in the slides. So some characteristics we do look for is humility based on the DSC values. We do look for people who are passionate in really giving back to the social cause in what we're doing. As DSC is a Tech for Good club, we're really wanting to give back to the society. And linking to that a little bit, some questions were asked whether we'll be paid or reimbursed in terms of the projects that we do. No, we are not. So we are Tech for Good club means we do all these projects or even the internal projects to give workshops and projects that we have done pro bono basis, right? So yeah, if you don't know what pro bono is, basically giving it out for free lah. Yes. Okay. So the entry interview for SWEs, you'll go through with the head of tax. They'll be conducting the interviews, and you go through some technical interviews, some technical questions, and also some soft skills and even hard skills question to kind of determine whether you're right fit. Similar with product designers, we'll ask you a little bit about your portfolio. So if you do have a portfolio, do send it in the recruitment form, or if not, show it during the interview day itself if you're called for an interview. Yeah. Similar with the business associate, we're trying to find someone who is capable in terms of communicating, ensuring that you are the glue between every single team, from the product designers to the software engineers and even the MPO itself. So as long as you display such characteristics, we all welcome your application. Yeah. I think for the internal, I'll pass the time to Sebastian. Yes.
Actually, our interview process is actually quite simple. We actually ask you specific skills whether that you have for different departments. Let's say for technology, we hope that you have some skills, some technical skills to offer. But if you don't have, it's fun as well because you have the time to pick it up and be involved in teaching others. For the operational side, we are happy if you have some experience in event management before, so that you can help us manage events like Tech for Good. and industry talks, as well as tech for group workshop as well. For partnerships, we are very happy also if you are kind of a person who likes to talk to people, so that you can help us engage third-party stakeholders who are able to onboard us, who will be onboard them for our different events. And lastly, for publicity, it would be good if you have design skills, an eye for design, so that you can publish marketing materials for most of our events. And after that, we are just mostly asking you about your motivational fit as well as behavioral interviews and so on. Yeah.
So just to like add on also, besides all these skills, right, we also actually look at, like, for example, your commitments and attitudes and passion towards like what you would like to contribute to the club. So even if you have like zero experience or anything like that, as long as you, like what Joanne mentioned, it's all about growth mindset. So as long as you would like to learn and be part of the team and everything, we will also be more than happy to accept you to the team. So just sign up. Yes.
Yeah, Joel, maybe next question.
All right, so I'll go through the questions quickly because we are running out of time and there are a lot of questions. So can people without experience, okay, I think we have answered that. Where do the club get the projects? So our leads actually source for MPOs during the holidays. So right now we're already in talks with a few MPOs. And yeah, so these MPOs are sourced by ourselves. And we look for those that are in need of tech solutions to perhaps improve their processes and yeah.
Yeah. So all these projects, what are the 3 projects, will be explained to you during the interview. So keep note of that. And the head of tech and the head of this, if you are interviewed accordingly, they will explain to you all the 3 projects in depth, and you have the choice to kind of pick which project you want to do. However, we are really depending on the availability also, and whether if the slots are full, we can't really entertain every single project that we give you. But once you are shortlisted and you're already onboarded as a DSC member, you can pick that project that you actually want. Yeah. So by the time you're onboarded, which is in 2 to 3 weeks time, when we conduct all the interviews completely, we will basically share more information about this. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, next question is, what's the difference between DSC, FinTech, and NUS hackers? So for FinTech, I believe their focus is more on financial technology, so a lot more about learning about blockchain, stuff like that. NUS hackers is focused on conducting hacking workshops. So for example, to impart skills in, say, some form like React or some form of development. So their focus is a lot more student-centric, whereas DSC's focus is a lot more external. We look towards imparting new skills to those who are new to tech. So not just computing students, but also business students or any other faculty who are interested in tech as well. And also to benefit non-profit organizations and the community at large. And I think that's really the difference between DSC, is that we are really a tech for good club. Is it possible to leave the club when you're unable to cope? No. If you sign up, we only select those who are willing to commit and willing to commit for a year. So we haven't had cases where people left the club because they're unable to cope. If you do feel like you're unable to cope, you can talk to your heads and they will accommodate to your requests. And yeah, they'll be very accommodating one. So
yeah, do reach out to them. Yeah, and we really believe in really managing your time and your commitments as well. So if you really can't commit in a certain time period, we do tell our leads and our heads during busy periods such as exams, the workload for the projects and will be normally put on hold for a short while. But once, for example, during the winter break, or even during certain peak periods, such as, for the hackathons that are happening, or even the workshops, as well as the projects that you need to meet a certain deadline, just discuss with your heads as well to kind of work how you can manage your time well. All right. If not, always feel free to reach out to all 4 of us. We're always there to hear you out. Yeah.
All right. Next question: is there a recommended tech stack? No, there isn't. It'll be good if you do have web development experience, because that's the or some app development experience, but we do not have a fixed tech stack that we focus on. So don't worry, there'll be opportunities to learn along as you work on the project. So that it will not be too big of a concern. Is it a must to be the speaker for internal technology team when you conduct workshops? Are there any behind the scenes role for technology team? Sebastian?
Oh yeah, I think we encourage all tech associates to be fronting the workshop themselves. So in a way, you'll be involved in behind the scenes, which is the preparation of the workshop, like the materials, as well as the one conducting it. Yeah, because if you are just behind the scenes, then we believe that the benefits that you get will not be maximized. So to answer your question, it's a must to be the speaker for the internal technology team. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Sebastian. Next question. How does it differ from CVWO? Okay, so CVWO is very tech focused, so it's a lot more development work under the faculty. But for DSC, you get to work in a team of not just software engineers, so there are also business associates and product designers. And so the role is more diverse, and you also get to pick your own social causes. So, for example, in CVWO, I believe the beneficiaries are fixed, but for DSC, we do have certain ad hoc projects each year. So the projects are a lot more diverse, and you get to benefit a wide range of MPOs. Yeah. How long from our application submission will the interviews be notified? So we will aim to notify everyone in the week after the interview, after the applications close. So that will be the week of 23rd August onwards. Do you also recruit in SEM 2? No, we don't. Because DSC is a year-long commitment. Do you need prior experience to join? I believe you have answered that. Does this help you get to Google? Maybe the experience will. The experience will definitely be beneficial in your growth as a developer or as a person. So maybe it will, who knows? Who maintains these platforms after you develop it, after you're rolled out? Who funds it? So the funding actually comes from Google themselves. So they provide us with Google Cloud Platform credits, which we use to host our platforms. As for maintenance, currently the platforms are handed over to the non-profits after they are developed, but we are looking towards a more long-term collaboration with these non-profit organizations so that there is maintenance and upkeeping of these platforms after a year. Typically, do you guys have other CCAs and personal projects or all your time spent on DSC? No, I do. Personally, I do have other CCAs and personal projects I work on. DSC doesn't take up it.
Oh no.
Maybe I can share first. I think some of us here have other CCAs as well. I think taking up Exco will definitely take more time than needed. But in year one, for me at least, I think it's about your time management skills. If you're able to manage both DSC and other CCAs, and even your studies, then I think it's fine. Yeah, I think personally it's on you more than it's on the CCA itself. Yeah. Maybe Jeremy can share if you have any. Yeah.
Yeah. I do also join other CCAs as well, not only DSC. I do have certain other interest groups that I join. That kind of helps me also. Besides, being in computing, I want to meet up other people from different faculties. I believe DSC provides me an opportunity to do that. But yeah, it's not entirely DSC focused. Yes, if you're wondering, the long story short question, yes, I do join other CCAs as well. Yeah. Next question, can we get a copy of the slides? So for these slides, it won't be available to you. However, the recordings will be open up on our Instagram, like after this. So you can feel free to rewatch the recording at any time at your own pace. Yeah. I believe the next question is not. Yeah. Do you get free meals? I don't know which question is linked to that. But okay. So do you guys still join orbitals or CVW or internships or GSOC?
Okay, so for this question, yes, I did. I believe a few of us here did orbital as well. CVWO Han Ming was from CVWO himself. Internships, I did do an internship along with DSC, so it's fine. Yeah, so usually the commitment is biggest perhaps in the winter, and in the summer things will start to tone down already. So do not worry about internships and stuff like that. It's definitely possible to do both of them at the same time. Freebies when joining.
Stay tuned lah. Maybe got, maybe not, right? Yeah, I'm a year one computer science. I think we have answered that. What do product designers do? So you can just refer back to the recording, on what product designers do. But mainly they are there to design hi-fi and low-fi wireframes. Yeah.
Okay, how many hours for an external team? This has been answered. Remuneration, no. Will we be working on new projects or existing ones? So this year we actually started 3 new projects, so they are all completely new. Yeah. What do you look for in software engineer? I believe you are looking for people who are passionate about giving back to the community. That's the most important. The secondly is that they are fast learners and you're able to pick up skills very quickly. And finally, that you're able to work very well in a team of not just software engineers, but also business and product designers. How is DSC? Okay, this has been answered. How much is the shirt? You'll find out. You'll get a shirt when you join. Okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone join NOC while in DSC?
This one I'm not that sure also. But
yeah, personally, I don't think
so. Yeah.
Unless
Because
your
in
NOC is
right.
Maybe unless your NOC is held in Singapore. I believe that previously NOCs weren't held in Singapore, so we have not had members who. I do believe we have not had members who are doing both.
Yeah,
but feel free to sign up nonetheless, because especially if your NOC is in Singapore, then it'll be easy for you to be present in school as well. You can only get a DSC close if you join us. So I'm sorry. Do we get hall points? No. I don't know what hall. Is it possible to join operations or tech team if I'm currently not in Singapore? And because we are looking to hold physical events, so it's going to be a bit tough.
Yeah, so, but if you are going to be not in Singapore for just temporarily, like perhaps for the next 2 or 3 months due to COVID, we can kind of assist on that, but it really depends on the case. But if you're going to be fully away and not in Singapore for the entire academic year, it'll be a little bit difficult. Yeah.
Right. What is the difference between a software engineer and tech internal? Okay, I believe that's right. That will be pretty clear from our presentation. Software engineer projects, we will allocate once we select you guys as our software engineers. Kind of skills, passionate about serving the community, willing to learn. Yeah, that's all. You don't really need hard skills to sign up. For external deadlines, avoid exam periods, yes. We are all students ourselves, so we will generally avoid exam periods as busy periods. What is an NPO? A non-profit organization. This is like GP knowledge. Do we get to choose the projects to do? You guys can, I believe you guys will be able to indicate your preference, but ultimately the decision still lies on where we see you guys as fit to join. Does this finish before the summer? Yes, generally most projects, we aim to end them about during summer. So you will still be able to do a 2022 summer internship as I did. Taking 2103T, will the workload be heavy? Well, since 2103 is somewhat software engineering, so yes, I think you will be able to manage it fine. What should our resume consist of? If you'll be good if you can put some past experience or projects that you have worked on. What OS do you use? I'm a pretty big Apple fan, so I use a Mac. Do you develop? Oh. I'm not very sure what's TDD. What's the commitment like as a software engineer? I believe this has been answered. We do have weekly meetings, and there are weekly check-ins on how's your work going for the week. Project is determined by external parties, self-initiated. So we actually, they are self-initiated, but they are initiated by our tech leads. So yeah. Product manager, again, willing to learn. It'll be good if you have some prior experience in design, but it is okay if you don't.
It's not a prerequisite. All right.
Yes, that's right. Do you perform any research, write any papers? No, we don't. Must have coding experience is a BBA major sufficient. So we do have a range of roles that are not just coding related. So yes, definitely as a business major, it is sufficient to join our club. Yale and NUS students get to join.
Yes, as long as you're an NUS registered student, we welcome every application. Yeah. I think we will wrap this up in a few minutes, Joel, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I believe we are approaching the bottom already.
Correct. But if your questions are not answered, we will still try to answer them inside this pigeonhole. So anytime you can hit back to this pigeonhole with the code DSC2122 to kind of hit and see the comments. So if you realize some of them are already commented, a few of us already have replied based on certain comments. Yeah. So anything, if you're still unsure, message us on our Instagram or even watch our recording again. Yeah, if you have missed out certain parts.
Yeah, okay. But just to wrap up the last couple of questions, can we join workshops even if we don't get into DSC? Yes, you can. They are open to everyone in NUS. So you can just look out on our Instagram page. And finally, does the internal team do the planning while external team do the coding? No, this is wrong because the internal team focuses on running our events. For example, Tech for Good, hackathon, and workshops, hackathon, and stuff like that. External team, you are more external facing. You work with non-profit organizations and build the tech solution. So their job scopes are very different. All right, I believe will I be able to switch teams after a year? Well, DSC is only a year-long commitment, so.
Yeah, I think for now, could we get everyone to turn on the camera and we have a quick photo together? Yeah.
If you guys don't mind, yeah, we'll appreciate it so much if you all can turn on cameras. So we all can, take a, I know most of the participants already left, but if you all could, turn on cameras and just take a photo. Maybe Joel, you can change your slides to the DSC presentation slide if you don't mind. Yeah, or if not, we can just leave it be like that. Yeah. Thanks to those who are turning on their cameras.
Thanks so much to everyone who are brave enough to turn on our cameras.
Yeah, we're all students here, so there's no harm here. Yes.
Okay, so just keep smiling until there's a lot of pages. Okay, yeah, just keep smiling.
Yeah. We'll give a few more seconds for everyone to turn on if you can. Yeah. Then we will just take a photo after this. Yes. All right. Yixing, you ready?
Oh, I'm already taking right now. Everybody's smiling, right? Okay.
All right. Yeah, everyone just smile.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Thanks everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
If not, thank you so much everyone for coming down to a welcome tea, and we hope that this session has been informative for you guys who are interested to join DSC. And we really look forward to receiving your applications, and we can't wait for you to come on board to our DSC family. So if you have any more questions, you can just DM us on Instagram at DSC NUS. Yeah, and look forward to, if you missed any parts of this welcome tea, you can look forward to our recording, which will be also on Instagram. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Jun Kang.
May I stop the
Okay,
record?
I've removed everyone. I believe that is our Daniel Chan. Are you our Daniel? Yes,
Do you have
hello.
any questions?
Yes, hello.
Do you have any
Hi.